All right. As I said before, thank you so much for joining me this morning for Monday Motivation. This is the 4th week of the Monday Morning Motivation from Sent in the City or myself, Aspen Calhoun, and I appreciate all of you joining me. What I'm going to go over this morning is going to be a little bit different than what I've done in the weeks past, just because I always give you guys ideas of do this or be happy or use this as your energy or use these things. But what we're going to do this morning is kind of break down motivation, what it is, and how to find it within yourself so that you are able to motivate yourself. Although I love to have you guys on and keep you going every week, and I hope that you continue to join me, I think the key is being able to know what motivates you and to be able to motivate yourself. So let's get started. So what motivates you? A lot of us have probably never even thought about, like just sat down and thought, what really gets me going? What gets me through the day? What makes me go out and recruit new team members? What makes me book parties? What are the things that motivate me to succeed in my business? We have to have personal reasons to do what we do, no matter what it is, no matter if it's going to the grocery store, no matter if it's succeeding to raise our children, getting a new job, doing anything that we need to do, that we have to have a personal reason, because if it's not personal, we have no drive for it. There is no motivation. So if you can figure out why you're doing what you're doing, you will have your keys to your success. It's not an easy thing to do. There should be more than one motivator that motivates you to go out and sell, that motivates you to recruit, like I said. And we're going to go through a few of those things, and I'm going to give you some ideas of what they might be. But I encourage you to take some time and really think through what it is that motivates you, what it is at the end of the day that makes you want to succeed in your business. Write those things down and use that information to move you forward, to motivate you, because once you know what those things are, you know exactly what you're working for, and you know exactly how to make yourself get there. So first of all, we're going to go over physical motivators. The physical motivators are prizes, the warmer incentives that Cincy does for us, the bonuses, the extra 5% that they give us, the money, of course. The more we sell, the more we make. The more we recruit, the more percentages we make off of our team. Money is always a huge motivator. 99% of the time, if you ask somebody, why do you sell Cincy? The first thing that pops in their head is for the money. Why do you go to work every day? So I can make money. But beyond those things, there are things that money get us that are also motivators. The quality of life that we live, the home that we own, the car that we drive, the food that we eat, the dance lessons we can buy for our daughter. These are the things that motivate us, and money is behind those things. Not only that, but recognition is also a physical motivator. The trophies, the plaques, the certificates, the annual awards we get at the end of the year, the Shining Star Award that one person gets at the end of the year, the trophies and that. Why do your kids play sports? Because they get trophies if they win. Why do you go enter the spelling bee? Because you get a trophy. These are the things that when we can set them up on a shelf, or we can look at the plaques we hang on our wall because we had 3 team members make Sensational Start at level 3. These are the things that are physical that make us proud of doing what we do and make us feel like we are successful in our business. These are the physical things. Now, physical things are, when it comes down to it, they are just physical things. And we can say that physical things motivate us, but most of the time, it's what's behind a physical motivator that really drives us. And those are the emotional motivators. Emotional motivators are self-worth. What makes you feel like at the end of the day that you're worth something, that you did what you needed to do to make yourself successful. Accomplishment. All of the things that I mentioned that are physical motivators play into this accomplishment motivation. If you feel a sense of accomplishment in what you've done, it makes you feel better about yourself, and that motivates you. Opportunity is an emotional motivator. It's an idea in your head that you are creating opportunity for yourself to move forward and have success. And personal growth. Personal growth is a really big one for me. When I think about what I want to do and what motivates me, it's always to grow, and through growing other people and helping lead other people, and that gives me personal growth and teaches me how other people grow. So freedom is also one. We can say that money is our motivator, but really it probably comes down to freedom, which is an emotion. It's freedom from having someone else as your boss, freedom from worrying about how you're going to pay the bills. It's freedom from worrying about the next car payment. Those are the things that the physical motivators give us, and emotional, like I said, drives those physical things, things that give us a purpose, a motivator that moves us through the day towards those physical things. Put some thought into these things and maybe jot down a couple that you think are most important to you, whether it be success, and you may see success as trophies or rewards or recognition from other people, or is it the opportunity? Is it the freedom from the financial state you're in? Think about these things and put some thought into what really motivates you, because when it comes down to it, without an emotional motivator, we really just coast through each day. We may know what we're doing. We may know that, okay, we have this business that we're running and we have an end goal with it, but if there is no emotion behind it, it's like it's dead in the water. It really is. Our emotion is what drives us through all things in life, no matter what it is. With our kids, there's a reason that we don't want them to play 2 blocks away without you, because you are emotionally attached to them and you care about their safety. So those are the motivators to keep them close to you and know where they are. There are emotional motivators behind everything that you do. Think about something that you're driven to do each day and ask yourself, okay, why am I doing this and what's my motivator, and do I have passion? Because if you have passion for what you do, you have these emotional motivators. If you know that you're a director now, you want to be a star director, you want to be a superstar director, you're a certified consultant now, you want to be a director, what emotionally drives you to get there? Know what the physical motivators are, but focus on what the emotional is, because that's what's going to push you. That's going to make you wake up every day and say, I can do this because I want a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. These are the things that I have to do today to get there. So jot some of those down. Know what your emotional motivators are and know how important they are. Now that we know, once you figure out what your motivators are, you need a plan. You can't just have a list and say, okay, I know what motivates me. Sweet, what am I going to do today? It doesn't work like that. You have to know what motivates you and use those to move yourself forward in your business. Yes, you have an end goal, and if you haven't written down goals, you have to have goals. That's what's going to make you successful. The second thing, you have to have motivation that moves you through those goals. So when I say set out a plan, if you're saying, for instance, that not only success, but let's go back here, say a sense of accomplishment. Accomplishment is what motivates me. So if you set out your plan for the day, if you don't set out something that you can accomplish during that day, you will not have that sense of accomplishment during the day. And so if you don't, the things that motivate you, if you don't attain those things, the next day is going to be even harder. So say you set 3 goals for the day. I'm going to contact 3 people, I'm going to give out 5 business cards, and I'm going to book 1 party. This will give me my sense of accomplishment. If at the end of the day you didn't go through your list, you didn't do any of these things, you will not be motivated the next day to do it, because it moves further and further away if you don't reach these physical and emotional rewards along the way, because that's what feeds your motivation. Some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger, like you noticed when we went through them. Say recruiting 1 person might be a motivator along the way, but the next one would be helping lead that person so that they can get sensational start or gain rewards from them or different things. And so you have to mark milestones along the way to keep yourself motivated. And if you put some thought into it, these are things that we already know. We already know that if we go through a whole week and we don't achieve anything, we're going to get down about it. If we go through a whole month and we couldn't book a party or sell anything, what do? We get down about it because we're not motivated anymore, and we lose that. That's why we go to Spring Sprint. That's why we go to convention, to gain that motivation, because other people can remind us of these things. So if Spring Sprint and listening to Monday Morning Motivation and these reminders help you, then you know right away that you're not reminding yourself often enough. If you can be conscious of what your motivators are, then you don't have to wait for Spring Sprint to dive in. You don't have to wait, like, okay, I just went to Spring Sprint. I'm going to be wound up probably through March because there's an awesome new catalog. April's going to go okay, but by the time May hits, I'm going to be down and out. Guess what? This is your own fault. You have to know what's going to drive you, and you have to know how to use those motivators yourself. Because if you rely on other people to motivate you at all times, your success will be slower, a lot slower, because if you're relying on other people to move you forward each day, you're going to be waiting, and there's going to be down times, there's going to be weeks, and there's going to be days when you're waiting for somebody else to amp you up. Learn how to drive yourself through the things that you want, and continue to remind yourself. Make lists, put Post-its around your house. Wake up every day and say, why am I motivated today? What am I doing? And at the end of the day, what accomplishment will I have made that's going to drive me through tomorrow? There's also motivation inhibitors, and this is a big one. Like I said, it's spread out when you get your motivation from other people, but then if you learn how to motivate yourself, there's other things that are going to knock you down and that you need to be aware of. One of them is workplace satisfaction. Now, if we are running our own business, where is our workplace? It's obviously our home. Not only that, but our community, the places we do party, those things. But the main place we run our business is at home. Now, if you have people in your home that are constantly pulling you down, or you're letting pull you down, this is an inhibitor. You can wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and at the end of the day, I'm going to feel amazing because I did these things. So how do we change this? If our home is a place where we wake up and we roll out of bed and know that we have an hour and a half to get the kids to school and we don't really want to do it, and we get that done, and then we're driving to the store, we got to pick up a few things. If this is how you go through your day, you need to change your outlook, because motivation comes with inside. Like I said, it is emotion. Change the emotion in everything that you do, and you will change your motivation. You will wake up knowing that, all right, sweet, this is what I got to get done, and here's what I'm doing, and this is why. It's about an attitude. It's about working through your day, not feeling like these are the things that I have to do, but here's what I'm going to do, and here's why. Another inhibitor is a river with no stepping stones. If you know what your end goal is, if you know what's on the other side of the river, and you have no stepping stones to get across, the first thing you feel is defeat. If you're standing there at a raging river and you're like, I'm never getting to the other side, there's no way. So here's what you have to do. You have to find the small steps along the way so that you can feel an achievement. Even if you just jump 6 inches into that river and you can stand on a stepping stone, you made it 6 inches today. Not because, oh, I got to the other side in one day, but because you're working your way to your end goal. Stepping stones can also be people that will help you out. The people that can continue to drive you, that can give you ideas, that you can share things with. Not just people that amp you up every day, not Spring Sprint, not those things, but the constant reminders that you're in this together, the people that you help and that help you. So know what your stepping stones are. Know your end goal, and know that you can't take a running jump and leap across the river, because odds are you're going to hit about 6 feet out and go washing down. So know what your stepping stones are, and don't let that giant goal inhibit you. And know that with stepping stones, you can get to it fairly easy. Also, the fear of failure, and this is one of the biggest inhibitors. And this is when it comes to your workplace, when it comes to your attitude, when it comes to your river. The fear of failure ties in with all of these things. It's the thought that when you're standing back looking at the river, I'll never make it across. Or when you wake up and you think, well, this is what I wanted to do today, but I know at 5 o'clock tonight there's no way I'm getting all this done. The fear of failure will stop you before anything else will. It will, even though you have your motivators written down, fear of failure will stop you before you even get started. Know when that takes a hold of you and learn to recognize that, because if you can do that, then your motivators will be stronger than your fear. Time management and productivity. And this is a huge one too. These are all the things that take over our daily life that makes us say at the end of the day, well, I couldn't work on Sensi today because I had to run here and I had to do this and I had to drive kids, or I had work. I had worked 8 hours today. I don't have time for Sensi today. These are the things that, excuse me, inhibit our goals, our success, our motivators, because we had these things we had to do. So how do we handle that? It's time management. If you have another job, if you've got to be at work at 8 and you get off at 5, plan 1 hour a day where you can work just on Sensi. If you have an hour-long lunch break, plan 30 minutes to eat and 10 minutes to call people and book parties. You can squeeze it in and you can make it work. Plan, okay, if I have 3 kids and I got to be running them all day long, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to blend with Sensi. If I'm going to the school, I'm talking about Sensi. If I'm dropping the kids at soccer practice, I'm talking to the other moms about Sensi. If I'm going to the grocery store, I'm talking to the clerk. You have to learn to do your daily tasks and yet be productive in your business, and use your motivation to do that and not take that as an inhibitor. Another inhibitor is no emotion, excuse me, but no emotion to drive us. Like I said, the biggest motivators are emotion. If you have a goal that means nothing to you, then there's not going to be any emotion in it. If somebody else told you that you want to be a director and that's why you're doing it, then it's not your motivator. Think about those things and think about what means the most to you. If you truly know what motivates you, there will be a ton of heart in it. You will put all of your emotion and all of your drive into it. Think about what you're most motivated to do. And I always go back, when I think about this, I always go back to my kids, because I am emotionally and physically driven to guide them, to lead them, to show them the way, to teach them my very best and make them their very best, because that's where my emotion is at. And if we can look at our business the way that we look at whatever our emotion is into most, then we will be driven every single day through that motivation. A crowd of inhibitors. I want you to think about the company that you keep, whether it be other consultants, other directors, family, friends, whoever's around you. If you have a crowd of people that are themselves inhibitors, it's not a friendly environment. If you're around someone every day that says, well, I'm a director, but it's not going so well. I do this, and this bothers me, and that bothers me, and I don't like this, then you're constantly getting feedback that are killing your motivators. Surround your people, or surround yourself with people who are driven, who have motivation from within themselves. Surround yourself with people who know they will succeed because their emotion drives them. Surround yourself with people who have stepping stones and will be your stepping stone, will help you across that river. Think about the people around you and don't crowd yourself with inhibitors through people. So, knowing yourself, think back on your motivators, and after you write them down, I want you to truly know in your heart if your motivator motivates you. Don't just write money because you want to pay your bills off. I want you to think deeper than that. I want you to think why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you want to pay your bills off? A sense of accomplishment. Why do you want to get the annual award for recruits? Why? After you've written your motivators down, I want you to go back and ask yourself why. I want you to put emotion into it, and I want you to think through your heart and know what will drive you. And if you've written down things that you can't think of why you would do those things, you need to rethink it. Know what your inhibitors are. Think about your life. Think about your workplace. Think about where you work. Think about the people around you. If you have inhibitors in your life, change them. Can we change everything? Absolutely not. But we can make it work, because 99% of the time, if we change our attitude about the situation, if we become a motivated person within ourselves, then we will be less inhibited because of the things around us. We don't let those things affect us as much when we're motivated. And have a plan. Like I said before, you can know what your motivator is, but unless you have a plan with small motivators along the way, it won't do you any good. So write down a plan and learn about yourself, learn what motivates you and moves you forward. There's another aspect to this that I'm going to go over briefly, in using motivators to motivate a team. This is something that I have struggled with a lot, because I think of something and I think, okay, physical things. If we give our team physical things, it will obviously motivate them. Who doesn't want a gift card to Starbucks? Who doesn't want this or that? Who doesn't want this cute little necklace that I love? Think about it. If you could get to know your team, whether you have one person or 100 people, if you could get to know them and put some time into getting to know each person with some energy and with compassion when you speak with them, not only is it going to show them that you actually care what motivates them, but you're going to learn about that person and you're going to know why they do what they do. And a lot of us would learn why what we're doing as leaders isn't working. Because if we talk to people, we will realize that it has to be personal. If we can give away 1,000,000 gifts, and people love gifts, whether it's a card or a little charm or whatever it is, and people love those things, and I'm not saying those things aren't great, but if we can be personal with someone and know that their goal is to recruit 2 people a month, and we can help them do that, they will feel more accomplishment through that than any prize they could have won, whether it be a car or a card. No matter what it is, if it's personal, it will mean more to them. Self-drive is more powerful than anything with a bow on it. Something that that person wants personally and has emotion for them is more powerful than anything that they can get from you or anybody else. It's like, at the end of the day, you could give away $20 bills to your team for doing different things. You could challenge them. Anybody that sells $500 today, I'll give you 20. You could do those things, but it doesn't have any emotion in it. The next day, you're right back at the other side of the river because you're motivating them with something that is not emotional to them. Think about those things and think about spending some time with the people that you want to lead and knowing what actually motivates them. And remember that helping and leading is a lot different than pushing and begging. The things that motivate you may not be what motivates your team members. Like I said, leading other people and motivating people is what drives me personally. But see, your goal, your motivation might be to be a director, star director, superstar director, whatever it is. That may not be what your team wants. They might just want to sell Sensi, do parties, and get out of the house. They may want to accomplish different things than you. So if you know what emotion ties them, you won't feel like you're beating your head on the wall anymore. You'll have a window into their energy. You will have a window into what drives them personally, and you'll no longer be handing out gifts to get them to the other side of the river when the next morning they'll be back on the other side, and you'll be standing there thinking, why did you go back? So think about those things when you think about leadership, and think about motivation, what truly motivates people, and when you go to motivate people, what are you going to use? To wrap things up, it all comes down to a choice. Know your motivation, write it down, commit to it, and don't let the inhibitors take over. Lead through other motivators, and lead through others' motivators and not your own. Like I said, just because you're motivated by something does not mean that your team members are. Make the choice to motivate yourself, because we don't have a spring sprint every week. Although it would be awesome if we did, we don't. We don't have someone every day giving us a call and amping us up in the morning and saying, you got this. Today you can do this and this and this, and at the end of the day you're going to feel this way. We have to do those things ourselves. It all comes down to the choices you make and the learning to motivate yourself. I'll just wrap this up with a quote for you guys. Be miserable or motivate yourself. Whatever has to be done, it's always your choice. I appreciate everybody getting on today. I'm going to stop the recording real quick, and then if you guys have any questions for me,